Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you for joining me. This is Friday, January 19th, 2024, and I have a stable internet connection, so I'm really happy about that today. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a lot to go over, so we'll get right into it. First, starting with our favorite indicator, the MMRI, showing an increase in numbers, increased risk, 265. So we had a bit of a pullback, and that did give the markets a little bit more strength. We're talking about the relative strength of the dollar and the 10-year yield. They're retreating. And so we've got stocks are rising again, as well as futures in the green. The volatility index, or VIX, is down. Surprisingly, gold is up a bit. I'm going to make a quick mention. Silver is basically at a great sales price, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but just to say. So, sentiment right now, bulls are back for now, at least until we get either someone speaking from the Fed or data, some numbers coming in from a report, or an outlier event. So, toward the end of the day, we do expect volatility. It is Friday, closing out options, particularly last hour of the day when the volume increases, there will be that volatility. So today we're getting calendar earnings from Ally Financial, Comerica, Fifth Third, which is another bank, and Travelers. So with the reports today, we've actually got a couple of Fed presidents talking existing home sales. So we saw pending home sales finally plummet. This is beginning to show in the residential real estate sector. So, and then we've also got San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly speaking today. So, Chris from European Central Bank, he says that the officials there are converging around a June time cutting for rates. And the ECB and the US always stay kind of in lockstep so that they don't throw off the other's currency too badly. So, both kind of pointing towards June now instead of March, like the market was expecting. I think that was a large part of the correction that we saw. So, we've got in Davos going on right now, deal makers are talking about sharp rise in takeover activity. So we're about to see, I'm going to go through a few of these instances, but what we call zombie companies, which are companies that were taking loans, operating, but not making a profit, are going to go out of business and be purchased, either just go out of business or be purchased for pennies on the dollar by a larger company that will grow. So, as far as the real economy, we've got Citigroup. They were talking about the jobs that they cut, over 20,000. So, Jane Fraser, who is the new CEO, held a conference call, and she was telling them that they are planning on cutting more management jobs as well, not just lower end. They cut the middle because it's where they can make the most profit, hire from within, and pay less in wages. That's typically what happens. So, we've also got Los Angeles Times playing a significant layoffs. We know that a lot of corporations basically are planning layoffs going farther into this year. Probably second half is when we'll see them really accelerate. But right now we've got Truist vowing to keep their expense growth low. That translates to cutting jobs. We've got Citizens Bank. They're reducing their workforce. They didn't give the specific numbers, but 3.5%, talking about fourth quarter again. I think they'll do it prior to that. They've got Bosch cutting 1,200 jobs, interestingly enough, in their software division. So all of these companies looking to quote unquote trim the fat. So an outlier, we've got KeyBank, and they're more optimistic coming into 2024. We'll see how they perform. They are one of the lower risk ones actually at the moment. So we'll keep a watch on that. We've got Cigna. They have filed for insolvency in Hamburg. So they were the ones that just had to sell their trophy buildings in New York City. So we're watching a lot of things come along with this. Europeans' top investment banks set to cut bonuses. So this is the other part of it. If you can't lay off, you cut the bonuses. It's just one more step. They're all cutting costs, basically all cutting costs. Macy's slashing 2,000 jobs and also cutting stores under pressure to go private, they're also talking about making use of technology. So some type of automation that they're doing. So Moody's is saying that more junk related US companies will default in quarter one, which is interesting. A lot of the predictions were saying more quarter two. Moody's is saying quarter one. We're going to keep an eye on how that is. That could accelerate how things happen. So, off of that part, this is a story I wanted to bring up. It's an ex Pfizer employee convicted of insider trading. So, what happened was basically he was in on one of the studies for the drug trials. And he knew the results prior to the results being posted to the public. He made a few trades, made quite a bit of money. So now he's facing 20 years. 20 years, while a certain person named Pelosi, who very clearly was doing the same thing, will never see a day. So there are rules for thee, but not for me. Which is really annoying. Sign of the times. Things need to change. Okay, so Apple executive complained to Meta that his 12-year-old was solicited on Instagram. Well, there's a few levels on this, first off, but anyway, they were talking about they've got a rivalry going on. So Apple is talking about removing them from the App Store. So Facebook, this story talking about selling the personal data, sending it to thousands of companies, this has been pretty much since they've come along, and they've been in lawsuits for this. We've known this for a long time. Data tracking. Now they are doing the same thing. They're investing in large servers and basically data storage of their own, just like Amazon has, as well as Google. So they're all just competing for the same thing at a rush. They all want their own version of artificial intelligence and storing and selling your data. So we've got China stepping into the mess, going into what's going on in the Middle East and some of the tensions there. They're emphasizing the need to maintain normal order of international trade. So why are they doing this? They're getting hit in the pocketbook. So because their exports are being hit seriously, they're now going to step into this. And we'll see how much that means, like how much they're going to commit as far as resources. But we're going to have China over there now. It's just becoming a great big mess. So between both canals, cargo ships now sailing around both continents, it's highly inflationary, will increase costs, and that cost will be passed on to the consumer. So looking at higher for longer, this will affect the timing of rates, because if the Federal Reserve and ECB are looking at higher hot inflation, and this could be a start of it, then they're not going to cut rates right away. So we've also got, this is also highly inflationary, of course, Saudi Iraqi oil export. There's more danger and increased cost. So energy is at the base of everything. So I've got just a couple of updates I would like to go over with you before I let you go. The first one is Lagarde, Chris again. He says that attack is the best defense against a return of Trump. So why are they getting into politics? Because it doesn't align necessarily with their view of things that are going on. So it's continuing with this elitist group that thinks they have a say in not only our lives and how we should live it, but also the politics of what are supposed to be elected officials. So they are in charge, the central banks and the elite. And if this doesn't really make it clear, I don't know what does. And then they're talking about seeing the global economy settling into a strange new dynamic. Yeah, CBDCs, because they're constructing it right now. So they'll let us know what they've got planned for us soon, I'm sure. I wanted to bring this up. OpenAI, artificial intelligence. They're expanding ChatGPT's reach in a unique deal with Arizona State University. So OpenAI, as we've been talking about, they're in a major partnership with Microsoft on a few different levels. Now, they insist they're not owned by them. However, this is directly a Bill Gates playbook. Back when Microsoft was growing, What he did was what seemed to be a wonderful gesture in putting it in all the schools. But to teach the kids, now they only know Microsoft, what are they going to purchase when they're older? It was brilliant. So, last thing I want to bring up is that an ancient zombie virus from Siberian permafrost has been resurrected. Why they would do this, I don't know. I thought this story was so funny. I had to let you know. So anyway, I want to leave you off with the weekend with that. I will see you a little later, and urge you to live, trade, think outside their system. Start buying physical assets and build a good community around you can trust. So with that, I wish you all a green trading day. Wonderful day in general. Thank you so much again for being here. Until I see you again, my friends, stay free.